Greetings and thank you for joining us at FutureMoneyTrends.com. I'm here with Chief Energy Investment Strategist for KC Research. You can find them at kcresearch.com. Marin Katusa. He's often a keynote speaker at different resource and investment conferences, and we're very pleased to have him with us today. Marin, thank you for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Marin, I want to start off with something that's a popular theme in the blogs and a lot of the precious metal sites nowadays. People are selling basically everything. They're selling all their stocks and they're just buying physical gold and silver. And basically, the goal is to sit tight until a currency event, hyperinflation, or the debt crisis implodes. Is this a good idea in your opinion? Is it not a bad idea, or is this an actual mistake people are making?
It depends what type of investor you are. I believe that if you want serious, significant leverage to the price of gold, you don't invest necessarily into gold for the appreciation in gold. You buy actual gold as a insurance policy for the rest of your portfolio. But if you want major leverage to the price of gold, you invest in some of these junior exploration gold companies. And that's where you can get your 10 baggers, 20 baggers, and 30 baggers. That's how Doug Casey and Rick Rule have built their fortunes. Not necessarily by investing in gold. They have exposure to gold as an insurance hedge, but where they've made their fortune is due to the successful leverage by exposure to the junior gold exploration companies.
The gold junior miners over the last few years, for many people, their experience has been they've seen their portfolios decimated. A lot of people have called the bottom. Is it time to finally start buying some of these juniors? And if it is it possible that you could share one that you like?
Sure. First of all, anyone who's able to call a bottom is just, guessing. I don't know if we're at a bottom, but I'm a believer of always having exposure to fantastic people. A lot of these companies that have been decimated, as you've mentioned, it's mainly because the management teams are not the top-tier management teams. I can mention one that Rick Rule, Doug Casey, and myself are large shareholders and have exposure to, and it's done quite well in this market because the management team, the exploration that they've done, the assets they've accumulated, and we're happy buyers of this stock in today's market. And even though everyone's portfolio is down 30, 40, 50, 60, 70%, this stock is not just doing well, it's doing incredibly well compared to its peers. So there's great opportunities in the market, and fortune favors the bold.
I've got to ask you what stock you're referring to.
This specific one that I'm mentioning, it's a junior exploration gold company. It's run by a very successful young entrepreneur who's on our KC Next 10 list. His name's Amir Adani, and the company's called Brazil Resources. It's on the Toronto Venture Exchange. Ticker symbol is BRI. And, Amir's already built up a resource potentially over a couple of million ounces. I expect that to grow. Not only that, the exploration projects he has fantastic potential. So you see, the smart money follows the smart people. And any investor listening to you has to look at the management team. And that's the first thing that Doug Casey and Rick Rule do. They look at the management teams. And that is the most important thing if you want success in the junior exploration game.
Marin, often people refer to owning stocks as paper, and of course, in this environment when people are very nervous about the fiat currencies and even now your physical savings account, would you put stocks in the category as paper in the sense that it could be taken away from you?
Well, it's not that it can be taken away from you. The paper gets diluted. So many of these junior exploration companies are run by management teams who are experts in counterfeit because they're able to just keep printing and printing and printing paper. They won't take your paper away necessarily, but what they'll do is dilute it. Very similar to what's happening with a lot of the fiat currencies in today's world. But that's the opportunity. When you look at a horrible market. This is the type of market that Doug Casey and Rick Rule get excited about, because now you can get fantastic management teams at a fair price. And Doug Casey and Rick Rule, they did not make hundreds of millions of dollars by investing in bad management teams. They are very specific. They invest in very few deals, but they go very big in the ones that they do invest in. So this is the opportunity, because everyone's hurting and everybody's lost so much money in the sector, these excellent management teams are going to now pick and choose and make their own company stronger. So I agree with the fact that, yes, most of these junior exploration companies aren't worth the toilet paper that the shares are written on, but that's where the opportunity is, because you look at a Robert Friedland, a Lucas Lundin, you look at Ross Beatty, they've become billionaires because of the junior resource sector. And that opportunity exists. And that's why I come back to why I created the Casey Next 10 list, is who's going to be the next Ross Beatty, the next Robert Friedland. And I really believe that Amir Adani is going to be the next Robert Friedland in our business. And I've said that for now 4 years when I first published my Next 10 list.
On the economy, Marin, with everything that's happened recently, just this last week, if you could comment on that, and also, I personally, you would have thought, and probably a lot of people would have thought, that gold and silver might have had a nice move here with this, what's happened in Cyprus. What are your thoughts on the metals' short-term reaction to this, or lack of reaction, as well as the actual situation going on right now in Europe itself?
You see, from the main markets, because we are in a currency crisis, the major markets, look at Apple, look at Samsung, look at all of these, Amazon, they are in a raging bull market. And the major media, the big funds, the pension funds, they're focusing on the bull market that they're in. And a bubble is invisible when you're inside a bubble. They don't realize that they're in a bubble yet until it pops, or when you're outside the bubble. So I actually don't think that this is a negative for gold at all. Gold's held quite well during all of this. People have shied away from the resource sector. There's been nationalization of resources globally, and yet gold is still holding, because there's a true value to gold. It is the true currency globally, and its time will come. And until then, you keep buying the right stocks with the right management teams, have some exposure to hard gold as a insurance policy to your portfolio, and in 5 to 10 years, you'll be laughing at this opportunity, looking back, going, man, I just wish I bought more of these junior stocks.
Creating wealth in this environment, Marin, a lot of people are struggling. What is something you can share with us that is a key principle to your own success, and something that you're doing right now to create and build wealth in the future?
I'll tell you a short little story. Back at the end of 2008, I was involved with a small junior company, and it was called Copper Mountain. And at one point, I was the largest investor, dollar-wise, in the company. And I truly believed in the management team. I followed the formula that Doug Casey and Rick Rule taught me and mentored me on. And these guys were good people. They're excellent at what they did. Now, we all know what happened at the end of 2008. The stock went from $2.50 to about 30 cents. I called it the Valley of Darkness. Okay? And I decided, it takes some testicular fortitude to do what I did. But I did my research, and the fundamentals of the story did not change. So I bought even more stock.
Oh.
Within 24 months, that 33-cent paper that I was buying all day long went to $8.
Wow.
And today, that is Canada's third largest copper mine and the newest copper mine in North America. So that is a pure example, and our readers saw me doing this at our Casey conferences. I would bring this company, and I was very vocal. When you're in a spot where Doug or Rick or I are, where you talk publicly about these positions, people follow the developments of it. And now it's a major producer. has over 300 employees at the mine, works 24/7. But at the end of '08, it was nerve-wracking. The market was under pressure, worse than it is today, and yet we needed to put $400 million into the company to build the mine. So today I look at the market very similar to that. If you find a junior exploration company that's run by an amazing management team, and the fundamentals haven't changed, it's the same as going and buying a Lamborghini for $25,000, not $250,000. Mm-hmm. And that's the irony of our market. Fund managers and the retail crowd are more bullish when things are expensive because they feel good. But when they're on sale, everyone's scared. Fortune favors the bold.
Marin, overall, in closing, looking at this market and the economy, there are a lot of things that people have to worry about. I mean, obviously, with everything that Doug Casey and you have talked about with the Federal Reserve printing, Europe, different trends happening like the baby boomers peaking in spending habits. What do you see over the next year for 2013? Is the Dow going to continue to make new highs, or are we looking at some type of crisis event coming soon?
I think both are correct. I think it's going to go higher till the crisis does happen. When it happens, people will realize what's going on. I focus more trying to find incredible management team who are buying their own stock, where the fundamentals are even getting better, but yet the stories are on sale. And that's where I've made my personal net worth. I've watched and been mentored by Doug and Rick. That's what they do. So I don't play the Amazons of the world or Apple. That's not my sector. I like picking the next Copper Mountain or the next Quadrilla, these types of stories where you can make 10, 20, 30 times your money. And they're out there.
Marin Katusa of CaseyResearch.com, thank you so much for joining us. You have a great day, sir.
You too.